It was a quiet afternoon in my small apartment, the kind of silence that felt almost eerie. My roommates were gone for the weekend. The only reason I wasn't completely at ease was the broken water heater in the bathroom. The icy water had already made my morning shower an unpleasant experience, and I wasn't about to endure another. So, after much hesitation, I called a repair service, hoping they could send someone over quickly. To my relief, they promised to dispatch a technician within the hour. I didn't think much of it as I busied myself with random chores, waiting for the doorbell. When it finally rang, I opened the door to find a man in his mid-30s standing there. He had a rugged appearance, strong build, rough hands, and a tool belt slung around his waist. His deep brown eyes held a certain intensity, and there was something effortlessly confident about the way he carried himself. "Hey, you called about a water heater issue?" he asked, his deep voice cutting through the quiet air. "Yes, it's in the bathroom. It stopped working last night." "Let's take a look." He stepped inside, his presence subtly changing the atmosphere in my small apartment. I led him to the bathroom, standing aside as he assessed the problem. The small space suddenly felt much smaller with him in it. I leaned against the doorframe, watching as he worked, his hands moving expertly over the heater, inspecting wires and valves. His sleeves were rolled up, revealing strong forearms, slightly dusted with stubble from a long day's work. "You live alone?" he asked casually, not looking up. "No, I have two roommates, but they're away for the weekend." He nodded as if he already guessed as much. "Good. Less distractions." There was something about the way he said it that made my skin tingle, though I quickly brushed it off. I told myself I was just reading into things. As he continued working, I couldn't help but notice the way his arms flexed with each movement, the way his fingers moved with precision and purpose. There was an undeniable sense of control in his actions, and for reasons I couldn't quite understand, I found myself drawn to it. He must have sensed me watching, because he suddenly turned his head and met my eyes. I felt a strange mix of embarrassment and something else, something more dangerous. "You all right?" he asked, a knowing smirk playing on his lips. "Yeah, just waiting," I said quickly, shifting my gaze. "Well, good news. The issue isn't too serious. I should have this fixed soon." I nodded, trying to ignore the warmth creeping up my neck. I needed to distract myself, so I stepped further into the bathroom, pretending to inspect the shelves. But as I moved closer, he stood up, closing the small distance between us. The air felt heavier now, charged with an unspoken tension. The sound of the faucet dripping echoed between us, the air thick with something unspoken. "Water pressure's bad," he murmured, his voice lower than before. "Might take longer to fix than I thought." I swallowed, unsure of what to say, but his presence filled every inch of the small bathroom. His hand brushed against my waist as he reached past me, an innocent movement that didn't feel innocent at all. His fingers lingered for a fraction too long, and when I turned, our faces were inches apart. My breath hitched as his eyes flicked to my lips, a silent question hanging between us. My heart pounded, the tension between us thick and undeniable. "Are you always this close with clients?" I whispered, my voice barely audible. His smirk deepened. "Only the interesting ones." I didn't know who moved first, but suddenly the space between us disappeared entirely. His hand gripped my waist firmly, pulling me closer, and I gasped at the feeling of his body pressed against mine. His lips hovered over mine, teasing, until finally, the restraint snapped. The kiss was slow at first, exploratory, but quickly turned into something deeper. My hands tangled in his shirt as he backed me against the cool tiles, the cold a stark contrast to the heat between us. His fingers traced the line of my jaw before tilting my chin up, deepening the kiss. I lost myself in the moment, the forbidden thrill of it all. the way his hands found my hips and held me there. The water heater forgotten, the only thing I could focus on was him, his touch, his breath against my skin, the way he whispered my name like a secret only we shared. A sharp knock at the front door made us both freeze. The moment shattered, and I took a quick step back, reality crashing back in. My chest rose and fell with uneven breaths as he exhaled, his forehead resting against mine for a fleeting second before he pulled away. "You should," I started, but he was already moving, returning his focus to the heater as if nothing had happened. I took a deep breath, trying to steady myself as I walked to the door. Whoever was on the other side had no idea what they had just interrupted, and maybe that was for the best.